You haven't subscribed to the channel yet? Subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now, let's go. A teaser warrant in the heart. Ethan's cell phone vibrated against his desk, the unfamiliar number causing him to hesitate before answering. Ethan, picking up. Hello. Nurse Adams on the line, clinical and detached. Asterisk, asterisk. Hello, Mr. Lawson. This is Nurse Adams from Grace Memorial Hospital. I'm calling about your wife, Brittany. Ethan's hand tightened on the phone. Ethan, what about her? Is something wrong? Nurse Adams, sir, your wife has been admitted to our intensive care unit. She's currently in a coma. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Ethan gripped the edge of his desk, his knuckles white. Ethan, a coma? What happened? Nurse Adams, I'm afraid I can't discuss details over the phone, Mr. Lawson. You need to come to the hospital immediately. The line clicked dead before Ethan could respond. He stared at the phone, mind whirling. Brittany was supposed to be at a conference in Chicago. What in the world was going on? He snatched his keys and bolted out the door, nearly forgetting to lock it in his haste. The drive to Grace Memorial was a blur of screeching tires and near misses in traffic. He skidded into the emergency bay, heart hammering as he burst through the doors. Ethan, breathless. My wife, Brittany Lawson, someone told me she's here. A middle-aged man in a white coat stepped forward, his expression grave. Dr. Cohen, Mr. Lawson, I'm Dr. Cohen. Please come with me. Ethan followed Dr. Cohen down a sterile corridor, dread coiling in his gut. Ethan, what's happening? Where is Brittany? Dr. Cohen ushered him into a small consultation room, gesturing for him to sit. Ethan remained standing, adrenaline jangling his nerves. Dr. Cohen, I'm afraid the news is difficult. Your wife was brought in early this morning. She was found unconscious at another man's residence. Those words hit Ethan like a fist to the gut. He staggered backward, gripping the back of a chair for support. Ethan, that doesn't make sense. That can't be true. Dr. Cohen, voice tinged with pity. I'm sorry, Mr. Lawson. It appears your wife and this man were engaged in sexual activity when something went wrong. There were complications that led to severe oxygen deprivation. She's now in a coma. Ethan's vision blurred, the walls closing in. Ethan, I want to see her. Dr. Cohen, of course, but please brace yourself. Her condition is quite serious. They walked to the ICU. Nothing could have prepared Ethan for the sight of Brittany in that hospital bed, motionless, tubes snaking into her body, a ventilator controlling each breath. Dark bruises stain her neck and wrists. Evidence of whatever twisted game she and that man had been playing. Ethan gagged, bile rising in his throat. Ethan, oh God. Dr. Cohen, quietly, Mr. Lawson, there's more. We found strong evidence of multiple sexual partners, both recent and long-term. The world crashed around Ethan. Everything he believed about his marriage, everything he trusted, was a lie. Ethan, voice raw. Where is he? The man she was with? Dr. Cohen. He fled the scene initially, but the authorities have him now. He's being questioned. I'm sorry. White-hot rage flashed through Ethan, a violent urge to tear that nameless man apart. But he forced himself to remain still, to swallow that primal fury. A cold, methodical voice in his mind whispered that vengeance should be slow, precise. Ethan, steeling himself. Thank you, doctor. I need to be alone. Dr. Cohen departed, leaving Ethan to stand over Brittany's broken form. He hovered a hand near hers, but didn't touch. Ethan, quietly, you thought you could do this to me and get away with it. You have no idea what's coming. He whirled and stalked out, ignoring the concerned stares of hospital staff. His mind was already plotting. Chilled anger. The drive home was a fog of betrayal and heartbreak. Back in the quiet of the living room, Ethan downed a tumbler of whiskey in one long gulp, then stared at the wedding photo perched on the mantel. He heaved it off and hurled it against the wall. The glass shattered, shards raining onto the carpet. He wanted to smash everything, to burn down the entire facade of his life. But such outbursts were pointless. He needed to remain calm, tactical, even. Ethan sat down at his laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard. Within minutes, he logged into every shared account he had with Brittany. He changed passwords, froze bank cards, and locked her out entirely. Let her wake up to find herself penniless. Next, he called his lawyer. Ethan, Thomas, it's Ethan Lawson. I need immediate separation documents and freeze every shared asset. Brittany has done something unforgivable. Thomas on the line. Ethan, I'm really sorry. Of course, I'll get on it. Do you also want to file for divorce? Ethan's lips twisted into a cold smile. Ethan, not just yet. I have plans, Thomas. I'll be in touch. He leaned back and exhaled, eyes fixed on the now broken wedding photo lying face down on the floor. This was only the beginning. By the time he was finished, Brittany would regret every breath she had stolen from him, every lie she had spun. Financial stranglehold. The next few weeks were a haze of strategizing. Through discreet inquiries, Ethan stayed informed about Brittany's condition. She remained comatose, unaware that her world was collapsing around her. Ethan arrived at Grace Memorial one morning and made his way to the billing department. Ethan, smoothly, "I'd like to discuss my wife's care plan." 20 minutes later, he walked out wearing a grimly satisfied expression. He had authorized a series of expensive, specialized treatments, none covered by insurance, and arranged for the billing to be redirected to Jonathan Pierce, the man Brittany had been found with. Let Pierce drown in medical debt. His next stop, Dr. Cohen's office. The older man appeared startled to see him. "Dr. Cohen, Mr. Lawson, I wasn't expecting you. Is everything all right?" Ethan, faking concern. "I'm worried about Brittany's progress. How would be sure we're doing everything? Experimental therapies, anything money can buy." Dr. Cohen, "That level of treatment is extremely costly and..." Ethan, "Money is no object, doctor. Whatever it takes to bring her back." Dr. Cohen nodded, though a flicker of unease crossed his features. Ethan took his leave, feeling triumphant. Jonathan Pierce would be buried under astronomical medical bills. Let him squirm. Social and legal warfare. Ethan spent hours compiling a damning dossier of Brittany's affairs, dates, messages, intimate details. He even included photographs of her bruise bite from that final disastrous tryst. He hesitated only a moment before hitting send. Emails blasted out to everyone in their social circle, friends, family, coworkers. The phone began buzzing incessantly. Friend, voice trembling. "Ethan, my God, we had no idea. How could she?" Ethan, with practiced agony, "I know it's horrifying. I just need space." He let them flock to decide, the devastated husband. They showered him with support. Brittany, still in her coma, could not defend herself. Her boss called next. Brittany's boss, somber. "Mr. Lawson, this is horrifying. We can't keep her on the team. I'm sorry." Ethan, "I understand. Thank you for letting me know." As for Jonathan Pierce, Ethan sent an anonymous tip to the man's employer detailing his affair with a married woman and hinting at shady finances. Within days, Pierce was fired. Soon, Ethan's sources reported that Pierce began liquidating assets, his car, his boat, even discussing selling his house, precisely as planned. But Ethan wasn't done. He dug deeper into Pierce's financial records, uncovering questionable transactions, offshore accounts. Whether they were entirely legitimate or not didn't matter. The hint of embezzlement would be enough. He dialed a number. "Ethan, Detective Carter, I have some information about Jonathan Pierce you might want to see." A week later, Ethan parked outside Pierce's suburban home and watched the police haul the man away in cuffs. Detective Carter approached, wearing a thoughtful frown. "Detective Carter, Mr. Lawson can't say I'm surprised to see you here. Mind telling me how you came by these documents?" Ethan, affecting innocence, just trying to understand the man who destroyed my marriage. "Detective, I had no idea he might be involved in anything criminal." "Detective Carter, your tip certainly panned out. Looks like Pierce is in a world of trouble." As the detective walked back to the squad car, Ethan allowed himself a small smile. The legal trap had been sprung. The final move is, later that day, Ethan called Thomas again. "Ethan, Thomas, I'm ready to file for divorce. Also, I want to press charges." "Thomas, charges? On what grounds?" Ethan, voice cold. "Property damage. She brought outsiders into our marital bed. That's destruction of what was mine." Thomas, hesitant. "That's unconventional, Ethan. But I'll see what we can do." "Ethan, make it happen, Thomas. Bury her." Hanging up, he stared at the house that no longer felt like a home. Soon, it would be his alone. Trophies of a marriage he once cherished, now stained by betrayal. Time passed, and Ethan kept track of Brittany's condition. Rumors said she remained comatose, though her vital signs were gradually improving. He waited, biding his time, finishing up the last details of his plan. Then one morning, a text arrived from Dr. Cohen. "Dr. Cohen, text. Brittany is awake." Ethan's lips curved in a predatory smile. "Ethan, showtime." The re-stick on. He found Brittany in the ICU, propped up by pillows, her eyes fluttering open. She looked pale, disoriented, tubes still trailing from her arms. The moment she saw him, her eyes flooded with tears. Brittany, voice raspy. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. What happened?" He took a seat by the bed, face devoid of warmth. "Ethan, you don't remember? The last thing you recall is being with your lover, Jonathan Pierce, in some twisted game that landed you in a coma." Her face collapsed in horror. Brittany, "Oh God, I never mean..." Ethan, icily, "Don't bother. Your apologies mean nothing." Tears streaked her cheeks. Brittany, "We can fix this. I love you." His laugh was harsh and cold. Ethan, "Love? You have no idea what that word means." He stood, towering over her frail form. "Ethan, While you were sleeping, everything changed. You have nothing left. No home, no job, no money. Your lover is rotting in prison and you're about to wish you'd never woken up. He dropped a thick envelope onto her lap. Ethan, all the paperwork is in there. The divorce, the lawsuits, every step I took to annihilate your life. Read it. Brittany's trembling fingers tore the envelope open. Her face blanched as she scanned the pages, eyes brimming with fear. Brittany, this can be real. Ethan, cold finality. It's real. Every line of it. And those expensive experimental therapies, you'll need to pay for them yourself now. I've made sure the bills are extensive. Good luck. She tried to speak, but he was already leaving. He paused at the door, glancing over his shoulder. Ethan, you destroyed everything I loved. Did you honestly think you'd walk away unscathed, enjoy the life you've earned? Then he was gone, leaving her sobbing in the hospital bed, cables and monitors beeping like a mocking chorus. The AFK. In the following weeks, Ethan kept track of Brittany's situation via quiet channels. She was released from the hospital to find herself penniless, disowned by friends and colleagues who'd learned every sordid detail. She tried to re-enter the home, but security had strict orders against her. She tried to reach out to her old boss, only to learn she'd been terminated. She tried to call family, but they'd all seen the scandalous evidence. No one wanted her under their roof. Meanwhile, Jonathan Pierce remained locked away, fighting futilely against both white-collar charges and the avalanche of medical bills tied to Brittany's care. Ethan savored each morsel of news like a connoisseur of revenge. Finally came the finishing stroke, a handwritten letter from Ethan to Brittany. He poured every shred of his contempted triumph into that elegant script. Asterisk, asterisk, Brittany. By now, you've realized the depths of your new reality. From the moment I discovered your betrayal, I set a plan into motion. One designed not just to end our marriage, but to destroy everything you and Pierce held dear. First, I cut off your finances. Every account is frozen. Your name is off the house and the cars. You'll find that exceptionally inconvenient when the hospital bills come in. Next, your social world. Every friend, every coworker, every family member knows exactly what you did. They all witnessed the humiliating proof of your affair. Your job is gone, your reputation in tatters. As for Pierce, he sits in prison, courtesy of some damning evidence I brought to the authorities' attention. White-collar crime is such a messy business, isn't it? The divorce is finalized, you receive nothing. A judge found my argument about you bringing strangers into our marital bed quite compelling. In short, Brittany, your life is destroyed. You are alone, impoverished, and disgraced. That's what you earned the day you thought you could betray me. Now you understand what I meant when I said I would never let you walk away unscathed. Enjoy your new life. You deserve every second of it. FN asterisk asterisk. He sealed it with a smirk of grim satisfaction. This was the final nail of final cruelty. EPILOG. Months drifted by. Ethan left their old house and moved into a sleek penthouse downtown, pouring himself into his career. One bright morning, his lawyer, Thomas, rang him. Thomas, I have an update. Brittany's living with a distant cousin working as a waitress to chip away at those medical debts. As for Jonathan, he's stuck behind bars. His appeal just got denied. Ethan sank into his leather chair, letting out a satisfied breath. Ethan, thank you, Thomas. He be informed. He ended the call and gazed out the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the city. In his reflection, he saw a changed man, harder, colder, but unbreakable. Lifting his coffee mug in a mock salute to that reflection, he murmured, Ethan, you thought you could destroy me? Now I own you both, forever. The sun cast long shadows across steel and concrete, heralding a new chapter. Ethan had risen from the ashes of betrayal, leaving nothing but devastation in his wake. He felt no guilt, only a dark satisfaction. The game was over, and he had won.